Hey everyone, today I've got a fun review over the Modsaw Deluxe. They have a standard version and the deluxe version. I'll go over the differences of them and which one, in my opinion, that I think is better and the reason why I think so. And could this be your next arrow saw? Stay tuned and I'll go over everything that I like about this saw and a couple things that I don't like. So first off, this is a really lightweight, pretty compact saw. Easy to move around, and the thing that I like is it does have a couple mounting holes, so if you want to screw this whole saw down, you can do that, or you can actually clamp it down, which is how I like to do it because I'm moving from back and forth from place to place, so it's just easy to have it a little bit more mobile and be able to move it. So it's really easy to move around, and the main difference from the deluxe to the standard is the upgraded bearings, and then you also have a knock attachment that goes on the back, and you can cut from the throat of the knock if that's something that you're interested in. I personally like just the standard cutting the arrow shaft to shaft instead of using the knock attachment, but it does spin nice and is something that some people might like. Another thing that I really like about this saw are the bearings. Like I said, the Deluxe has the upgraded bearings on it for the spinner. So for me, this is one of the better arrow spinners that I've messed around with. And then I also like that you have a little attachment point here that you can check and see if there's any wobble in your arrow. It just makes it easy to see. So if you put a field tip or any tip on here, you can line it up with that line and make sure it's not wobbling from side to side. And if it is, you can just spin your insert and make sure that you get that wobble out to make sure it fits your arrow the best as possible. You have an arrow square. I like that you can move everything, so you can get this arrow square real nice and tight to your bearings, so that way you don't have to worry about your arrow wobbling while you're trying to square the end of your arrow shaft. It's a really quiet saw, has a pretty high RPM motor, and it has a couple different dust collection attachment points, so it's easy to connect it to a vacuum. And then while you're cutting arrows, I like that you have this secondary support here, so that way you got 3 attachment points, which holds your arrows pretty well, and you can cut the arrows really square with this saw. In my opinion, this is a really nice saw for the money. It comes in at just over $200. There's a couple that are more expensive, and there's some that are less expensive, but for everything you're getting in this saw, I think it's a really good value. It's got a good motor on it. Like I said, it does have a pretty good warranty on it. Not exactly sure how well the lifespan is on this saw. Just hasn't been around long enough, and I haven't had it long enough to see how that works out. But so far it's worked really well, and I have no complaints about it. You have a really nice measuring chart here and a really precise arrow that tells you exactly where you're at, so it's easy to see if you're going to come back and cut the same arrows. Easy to line that indicator right up and make sure you're right back on the same point. Like I said, it's easy to move around, good lightweight saw, and in my opinion, is well worth the money. I would rather get the deluxe version for the $50 extra just for this arrow spinning, the arrow spinner on it. In my opinion, that's worth it just by itself. You do get an extra blade and some extra sandpaper as well with the deluxe version. But I'll go ahead and cut some arrows and show you how it works. So now that I have them all cut, I'm just going to go ahead and square them up and show you how that works on this saw. So I like to take a Sharpie and Sharpie the whole end, and you're going to set it onto the bearings. I personally like to slide the square about as close as I can get to the bearing and make sure you have it tightened down and that everything is tightened down good. Then you're just going to spin it into your square until that is gone. And as you can see, there is no Sharpie left. Might be a little hard to see on the camera, but there is no Sharpie left. And that is square. So, like I said, it works really good. There might be a couple other squares that can square up an arrow a little bit faster, but does a good job of cutting, so you don't have to take a lot of time to square an arrow. It squares up pretty good. And that is how that works. And then I will show you just spinning an arrow that is fletched here. And like I said, when you put a field tip in here, like I said, one thing I really like about this is this little mark. So you can make sure that your arrow is nice and square and straight. So you can just kind of line it up with that mark. Make sure everything is nice and straight, and with the field tip. And with the field tip or broadhead, it's really nice to look at that line and make sure everything's all in alignment and there's no wobble. So it's kind of nice to be able to adjust that, and you can just watch your arrow and make sure everything is nice and straight. So there you have it on the Modsaw. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below and I will try to answer them the best that I can. Like I said, it's a great saw. I recommend it. Works well for me. I have no issues or complaints with it. And it does the job that you want it to do, and it has about all the tools that you need to build your own arrows. Not exactly build all of your own arrows, but to cut your arrows and square them up and get them ready to fletch and put your inserts in. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. It helps me get out there and reach more viewers, and hopefully help everybody on picking what gear that they think that they might want, or answer any questions that they might have on different products. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay hidden.